More. Okay. So when it came time for me finally to get brave enough to say, yes, I'm going to launch this community, who were my first people to say yes? It was the people on my email list. And who are they? How did they get there? How did I start my email list? Welcome, Stacy. Great to have you today. They started from client engagements, from people that I knew that would be interested in the thing I was going to talk about. So starting from this place where you just cobble together how I found my first email, like my first email list and all the people that were on it, I dug through my calendar. And so I use this thing like a get to know you call, intro call, learn and explore call. I went over to my calendar. Let's see here. I'm going to do one more share screen. Make this one big. So how I started my email list. Welcome, Asa. Good to see you. I started from this place of just digging through my calendar. So what I did, I went over to Google Calendar and I did search for learn and explore because that was the name of the call that I used for everybody who ever was like wanting to work with me. That's how I started my email list. All the intro calls I've ever held, all of the one-on-one calls, I would do it by search. I would just go through week by week and figure out where have I been, who have I spoken with that would want to hear from me in my email list. And that was how it started. And so you don't have to start with anything except a spreadsheet. And what you want to do when you start is name, like first name, last name, email address. Now, it's nice to have organization if you want to, that's fine, but like keeping everything super, super simple and streamlined. First name, last name, email address. So, email marketing 101, let's go here. So, this idea of we connect on social media, we establish relationship there, we begin to influence people. We want to build trust towards partnership. So, like, this really is about your business objectives. And so, like, let's see it though in terms of a map. This is way too complex, but like, if we're imagining this ecosystem of marketing, like A to B to C to D, point A could, this is what I call the first hello. We find people on social media, we meet them that way. We get referrals from people, we get introductions from people. Maybe we do a teaching session or a speaking engagement. People get to know us that first moment. But then we want to move them through, right? So if we move them from a first hello into our list, that's great. But like there may be this midpoint stop here at your website. If you have a website, great. But if you don't, you can still leverage LinkedIn to do this same piece where you give people an idea of who you are, what you are. You can use Facebook for this. You can use Instagram for this. You do not need a website yet. I want you to have one eventually. But thinking about this midpoint where the sole primary purpose really for this is to collect their email address. You want to move it offline at social and get them to email. And if we see things on social media and the purpose of social media is, hey, I've got something for you. Let's come and bring that conversation over to here. We use things like your lead magnet. If you've ever gone to someone's website and they said, I have the top 10 tips for you to become the best public speaker ever. And you click, yes, I want that list. You have dove into their email list through a lead magnet. So we want their email address because then they are now on your future client list. This is the place where you don't have to worry about the social media middleman anymore, an algorithm determining whether you connect with people or not. Like that's frustrating. You put something out there on LinkedIn, you hope people see it. There's a small percentage of the people who actually follow you see your stuff. But if I send you an email, it goes straight to the palm of your hand. Wherever you are at in your day, you get a notification on your phone that I sent you an email and you read it. It's a one-to-one connection and it's incredibly powerful. And it gives them time to like you, know you, trust you on this way to becoming a client of yours. So, a huge fan of the future email, the future client list or the email list. And then you get to nudge them into that consultation, that one-on-one, that client connection from there. So when we think about, all right, well, so what am I supposed to do with my email content? And it's the same thing that I would recommend that we do in our bucketing our content for LinkedIn. We speak to the things that are solving problems. We do the I believe statements and we do the personal stories, our heirloom tomatoes. It works there just as much as it works on LinkedIn. And so then from there, you brought up the question of, well, how often am I sending email? I'm going to point back to this idea of observing your own behavior. You are an incredible source of information about all of these tactics. So if once or twice a month works for you to have something from somebody that isn't too obtrusive and all the time, and but like it's just enough connection, just enough contact, then great. If it works for you, it will likely work for your client too. I have someone who sends email marketing once a week. It feels a little bit like a lot to me when she does. It's always good, but I don't necessarily have the desire to read once a week. So if you could do once to twice a month, that's where I've landed. It's a reasonable cadence for me. Next question. And we're going to show you how to do all of this. So after we get done with a few more questions on, the how to, what time of day do you send? Well, when do you read email, friend? I have a whole lot of luck with open rates, a whole lot of success by sending email at 10 at night. Like that's a little bit wacky, but like I don't have the bandwidth to read much and assimilate much information in the middle of my day. But after everyone's calmed down and gone to sleep at night, I can sit down with my phone and if something pops up right to the top and I actually have some capacity to read it, I've sent it in the middle of the night for people who wake up with brains buzzing with ideas. And it's worked. So when you have space to actually get and read something, and then you get consistent with whatever it is. Okay. So what platform to use? The easiest one. For real. There are some that are out there that are what I would call like the shiny tools that spend a whole lot of money to convince you that you need their tool. My gosh. I have a number of thought leadership clients that have invested thousands of dollars in these platforms that are big and heavy and expensive, like Kajabi, like ConvertKit. Not unless you have a significant enough amount of revenue coming in that will support those. And there's also this reality of sunk cost. If you've invested in those, just cut it off now if you're not already using it. Don't keep telling yourself, I'll learn it. Maybe you don't want to do that. Let's just use the cheap and or free and get you moving and just let that sunk cost go. So that's why I say the easy tools, the cheap tools, the free tools until you've got some significant revenue. Because here's the thing. You have one or two things right now. You have time or you have money. You have time or you have money. So if you have time, that means you probably don't have a ton of budget. Or if you have not a ton of budget, that means you have more time, inevitably. So using the tools that may seem like, oh, it's like I have to use 3 or 4 tools to make this happen. But yeah, they're not going to cost you $300 a month like Kajabi does, I think, on a good day. So we can patchwork together just a few simple tools to ensure that your message gets out without having to just sign up for something that they pushed really hard for you to buy. So what do I do in email marketing? Julie, what am I supposed to do here? Number one, you want to go for clarity. Clarity is everything, y'all. If I don't know what you do, I can't buy from you. So help me understand what it is that you do. Simplicity. People will send you these long email newsletters that are so long and they're filled with so much stuff. So much stuff. If you had a single simple message with clarity that goes out as an email, that will bring you more success than the long, fancy, coded, just insane emails that these people send. Simplicity and clarity. Get the thing out the door. Bottom line, get the thing out the door. It's what ship it is all about. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Just start. Everything gets clear as your feet get moving. So we're going to dive in to just a screen share now. But based on what I've said thus far, if you had any specific questions, I'm going to walk you through the tools that I recommend to do this. And we're going to talk about how this all comes together in a marketing ecosystem. But any immediate questions?
Sure. But maybe we get to it later.
Yeah.
Should I tell you the question and then?
Yeah,
okay.
go for it.
This is like my biggest pain point, this writing thing.
Mhm.
And I just keep wanting to delegate it. And I don't have like a huge amount of budget for that.
Yeah.
I know it
absolutely.
needs to be good, but I'm at a point where I'm like, I think I'm clear enough about what I do and my client stories where I could communicate it, but then I worry someone won't have my voice or they won't be good enough but it's this anyway. That's my question. I got a lot of stuff. I think it's causing problems. I think it's like slowing me down.
Yeah,
The
likely
way
it
I
is.
write. Yeah.
It's simplicity is the reason I use simplicity is just simply because we get lost in our own head of content and we try to do too much at one time and we try to cover too many things. And when we just, even here in email marketing, right for the person in a Starbucks line, we are so busy and we will immediately push away from the stuff that looks like it's taking too long or going to be too complex or take me too long to read, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you can try to get down to just the heart of it, but here's a writing plan that you can use to outsource to someone else or even hand off to our good buddy, your writing team, ChatGPT, A to the men. So let's walk through how that could work. Let's go to the post that I wrote this morning from bed, pajamas, puppy, pre-coffee. Screenshot from bed, the whole, I mean, like I say that just to say, I don't work ahead of time ever. And I know that that's a priority for some folks to do, but like just for me, it's what this. So I'm going to take the post I wrote and I'm going to go here. Chat GPT. We want to create marketing that you can use multiple times, multiple ways, multiple places, because the thematic stuff that's going to pull through will actually help cement in people's minds. Oh yeah, Clara, she does this. This is the service she does. They need to hear it a lot, like the same thing a lot before they go, okay, I get it. You do this, you can help me here. So I could say to good old chat, I wrote this post and now want to create a blog post for it. If you have a website, you would like to have a blog on it, it is good to have. So then what you could do is going back here. So we're going to just write this out together. If you start with a single piece of content, one big piece of content, it becomes your blog for web. It becomes multiple social posts, and it becomes your email marketing. And then we take the blog, which break. So small piece for email marketing. And then that piece, it's like at the bottom of your email marketing, you have a button that goes, read more on my blog. Because then they go to your website and see how great you are and grab a free consultation. And so that is why we start with one big piece of blog. Now let's say, well, wait, I don't have a website. And then in that case, no website, no problem. We start with, on LinkedIn, you can do a LinkedIn article. If you'd like to start a newsletter, LinkedIn is still pushing out its newsletter a lot. You'll notice if you connect with someone, you'll still get a notification that says, want to subscribe to her newsletter? Like immediately. You didn't send it. LinkedIn sent it for you because it wants to help you build up your where you do this. So you can take your blog and put it here on your LinkedIn article. Or you could, so this is no website, and like, I don't want to start a newsletter. You would do, so long piece of writing. Take that, put it into chat and say, need 4 social posts, need 1 to 2 email newsletters. And then you can also take that blog and put it on Medium in full length. Free, drop it there, move on. You know, something really simple. Or blog goes to a friend who has an audience and you say, hey, I want you to put this on your email newsletter or website as a guest post. So you could do a ton with a piece of long form content. It does not need to go on LinkedIn as a big piece of long form content, but it's a nice place to start. Or with just LinkedIn posts and email newsletters. Go to, all right, so take 3 recent social posts, add those to chat, say, hey, in this style, write 4 new social. And once it does, say, I need 2 email newsletters from this. And then after that, we're going to take those emails, send them out if you want in MailerLite, which is the program I use, which is so inexpensive and quite easy. You know what I mean? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So all of the, like, there's a million ways that you can do your marketing ecosystem, but at the bottom line, you want to start somewhere easy and just be consistent with whatever the heck that is. Y'all, one of the reasons that I say I teach every day on LinkedIn is because it's really hard to get into that habit and pattern. Because if I only did twice a week, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm like, I want it to be perfect because I only do it twice a week. But now if I'm saying I teach every day, I lower the standards. I am far more okay with just, hey, it's just, it'll help one person today. It's all I needed to do. Boom. You'll find misspellings, grammatical errors because I do it from bed pre-coffee, snuggled up with puppies. We're not looking for perfect in any of this. We're just looking for you to not overthink it and just use the cool AI tool set that you have now, which is basically like having a copywriting team. So I'm going to take that post that I did. I'm going to go over to chat. And now if I did want to create a blog post, I could say, so please expand on this with casual, warm, friendly tone to entrepreneurs and business owners. This is mildly reframed as a blog. This is not a huge rewrite. They're going to need to see it a few times, hear the same things a few times. Perfectly okay. Take one post, throw it in here, it becomes a blog. Now, how do I get people to my blog? I'm going to say, great. Now create a snippet of this and a single idea to tease out as a email newsletter.
Julie,
Yes, ma'am.
you pulled that post off of LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And one of the things I keep getting feedback on is my posts are too long. But this looks really long.
This is really long
So,
on LinkedIn. Mhm.
but you've also written in a way that I mean, it's legible. It's not like you've got big, thick paragraphs in there. But would you say that that is typically the length that you do, or would you advise away from that? Or because length is something that I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah,
Because if I
absolutely.
go too short, I'm like, am I saying anything? And
Yeah.
yeah.
The idea of one saying one thing that you could fit into a Starbucks conversation while you're in line, like that really is short. Its idea is like, I'm going to drop the mic and walk away after I say something cool. I want to leave you wanting more. I want to help you, but I'm not going to, no one has time to read too much. So I want to move you and I want to help you start to see it differently. And then I'm going to go because I got to get back to work.
So this length that you have
This
isn't.
length is a little bit long for me. I would say more often than not, I'm only going to do this length like every third time, fourth time, and try like because they won't stay for very long. And if they won't stay, then they're not going to get help ever.
And where do you weave in or make sure you include? Because you were saying earlier
Mhm.
about making sure that people know what you do.
Yeah.
So is that just like, is that an extra step that you take, or do you think it's inherent in the message, or like,
Absolutely.
how do you clarify that?
That's a great question, Clara. So within what I say, I weave in what I do. So weave in what you do as you're explaining the thing that you're talking about. When we have a whole lot of what we do. Yeah, can you believe it actually understands that in chat? But if it even understands words like buzzwordy, don't make it buzzwordy, Chat GPT. No. But yeah, I try to just weave in, here's how I'm helping people. Not like, I mean, even just trying to explain what we do, it's super hard for all of us. But if we tell people what we've done, if we reframe it of like what I did today, as soon as it's in the past tense, it gets a little easier. So, like in this one here, la 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 la, where did it go? Do be do be do. And then we'll dive right into MailerLite and I'll show you how that comes together, but in this, they're seeing how it comes together. So like if you put them in the moment where it feels like you're pulling back the curtain on the work that you do, how you make transformation happen. Yeah.
And what do you
So,
think about delegating this?
oh, it's a wonderful idea if you can find somebody. But I also think that it's a muscle you're not far from using. You write really well. You've written a ton. And all now you have to do is just tell Chat, your new copywriting assistant, reframe this, make it shorter, get to the point. Don't lose the sticky stories. Don't lose the cool things that make it unique. Pick one, choose one instance from this writing. Pick one idea out of it, isolate it down to a simple social post that's, you know, 2 paragraphs, that's it. But then break those paragraphs out, like boss it around, man. It will respond really well. Stacy, any thoughts? Looks like you do this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is off topic, but so just let me know. So
Yeah.
I've been making like a conscious effort for the past like 60, 90 days to write every day. And
Uh-huh.
to be perfectly frank, I've been using ChatGPT.
Okay.
I have the idea. So the way I do it, just to give ideas for folks, is during the week when I have conversations, I talk to about 15 to 20 people a week. I take one nugget from that conversation and I have a running list of ideas. It's literally one sentence. On Fridays, I content block. And so I'll put the idea into ChatGPT. I have the idea. I'll have them write it. I throw it back into a Google Doc. I rewrite it because I don't always think they make the mark on how I would say it and the tone and the feel. And I agree that Clara, I think that sometimes it's long. My posts are long, to be honest. And then I throw it back into ChatGPT and I use a scheduling tool and I schedule everything on Fridays for the week ahead. So my I used to get, let's say, 200-ish impressions on my profile with almost 5,000 followers, which I don't think is really good. Since I've been posting, I'm getting like 900 profile views, which is like gangbusters. That's like crazy. But now my question is, and how do I take it to the next level? Like I'm getting a lot of likes, I'm getting a lot of comments, I'm getting people that are reaching out and scheduling calls with me. Like, how do I start converting some of that traction a little bit better? And I see like on yours that you showed, you said, you know, you have a blurb about like indirect, like what you do and how you do it. Like, how do I, is there like a call to action I'm missing? Like, what are some ideas there? You're on mute.
Thank you. Don't know how I did that. There are different people out there that have really strong, really persuasive calls to action on theirs.
Okay.
It's just never been my thing. I've
Okay.
never had to say, like, I've started sharing the opportunity to join this community. But other than that, I have people reaching out just going, oh my gosh, what you're talking about with thought leadership, I need it, I want it, I need it, I want it. And
Right.
so I think that we are really edgy when people feel like they're pushing their ideas out on it. And when we start to also say, reach out to me for blah, 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 then people are much less likely to engage with your post because they feel like it's salesy, and people don't love that.
Right.
They don't want to be seen with that as much, is what I found. So now I'm going to show you, though, who does this really well. And it's so compelling. But even he'll say, like, when you do things like this, you will have lower engagement on those posts, but they're still worth it to do because we got to get people over there. Justin Welsh on LinkedIn, if you're not following him, he's like master at weaving through incredibly compelling calls to action to get you onto his newsletter list. So let's see if it's this one. Like something like this.
Okay. And that takes them to an article or a sign up form. I don't know.
So this one could be either one. We'll see what he does. So this will get to his blog.
Right.
And
So
then in his blog, check this out. Down at the bottom,
right. There's a big button.
when you're
Forms.
ready, there are 2 ways I can help you. So simple, so clear. Here's my course. Here's my operating system. Here's my newsletter. On his website, super simple, but also incredibly darn like this is super profound. It's not sign up for my newsletter. So if you are going to have a website, on it, we want to gather email addresses and we want to have a really great, enticing, come sign up for my thing because I'm going to transform your life. I have the secrets of. Like the secret of is why they're coming to you.
Right.
That was fabulous, Stacey. Thank you for that feedback. Any other questions before we dive into MailerLite, which is a tool that you can use? Yes, Miki. You muted. Now you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
This may be something you can tell easy or tell me privately, but how do you get that chat GPT? Is that something that's in our resources or is it something I go get?
Such a good question. Okay, so I'm
Okay.
going to add this. So I just added a link to the chat, but I will send this to you. I have a demo on how I use this on YouTube. I will add that with a link to get to here in the
Thank you.
resources. That's such a great idea. Thank you.
Just on ChatGPT, because I saw you have 4. What do you think the benefit is between 3 and I guess 3.5 and 4 is? Because I personally don't have Plus because I pay for like so many
A
systems.
million
and
things. 10
yeah,
million
what you
things.
said that like who knows if I even use any of them.
Yep.
So it's like, what does it get you that the free version can't get you? 'Cause
Okay, let's be real, Stacey. This is like the FOMO part. Like, well, I want the most capable model. Our team uses this. We all use the same login. I use this for life. I'm teaching my kids how to write emails in this. Like, we do email help for a 12-year-old. Like, I use this all the time. And so I wanted to see what it would give me. You know what I mean? And so I have found that it does seem to do a little bit more of the complexity, but 3.5 is if you were to take a transcript from a podcast, it won't do that in 4. It will only do that in 3.5. It's too long for 4. It'll work in 3.5. Little weird things like that. So, but like, how fun is this? Could I have done this in 3.5? Probably. I haven't done a full comparison, but like there's so many applications for this.
got it. So 4 feels a little more like frameworks, templates, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. 3.5 is maybe more like, I don't know, creative modality a little bit.
Like fast, everyday kind of fun stuff. And then, but it's like, for $20 a month, with how many of us use it, I'm going to go for it. But honestly, it's going to probably get replaced by other fun tools probably. There's so much happening around it that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I think is just transformative about the business is like, I never felt like I was like a great marketer. My background's personally in sales and operations. So like, I was like, oh, I really wish I could like hire that copywriter to write for me. And Clara, just what you're saying is like, but no one's ever going to be Stacey and they're never going to have like the tone and the voice that I do. So what I love about ChatGPT, it's like my idea, they're writing, and then like a little ping pong like back and forth. And somehow we like get to what I feel like is in my tone and voice. But at the end of the day, like the idea was mine. So I feel like the concept rings true to what I'd want to put out there.
So here is one of Justin's, while we've got it on the screen. This is one of his ultimate calls to join my newsletter. Interesting post, aspirational, inspirational. If you liked this, join the Saturday Solopreneur, his email newsletter, my weekly newsletter. So a little bit of time-based and context there with lots of readers that does what? Teaches you how to build freedom on the internet. I don't really even know what that means. It used to be a little clearer than that. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. But simple words, at least.
And that
Not
link that he's put, is that,
Yes.
it looks like he's made it LinkedIn-ish, so does that help? But even though it leaves LinkedIn,
Oh, this one's pretty direct. It goes right to his like form.
it does, but the actual URL, is
he
that
put
just
it.
a,
He put it in his post and everything. So when you take a
It's like
link,
the post is like a LinkedIn URL versus
yeah, it's actually not though. It's just what this is it will short link a post link.
Yeah, that's how
and put it
LinkedIn
to the
shorts it.
post. Mhm. Now, if you
ah,
do it in the comments where I normally say to put links, it won't do that. It'll just be your link, long as can be, whatever it was. But if you put it in the post, it will make it short link for LinkedIn.
just stepping back 1 second, the
Please.
free version of ChatGPT, is that going to understand things like buzzwordy and newsletter and social media? Is it going to comprehend all those distinctions as well as
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
is? Okay.
It really will. I would use that for social posts for sure. Now, if I'm going to create a training manual for my new person who's joining our team and I need a little more help fleshing out some conceptual stuff, I might lean toward 4. But like for all the day-to-day, definitely 3.5 has been more than enough.
Thank
Yeah. So there is a tool. Let me just say, I have used them all the email marketing tools between clients and their email marketing tools, MailChimp, Sendinblue, SendGrid, Constant Contact, like you name it, I've tried it. This one has been the easiest, simplest, cheapest, most friendly to users. Now, they all have their trouble spots. So I'm going to show you one other tool also. Gmass. So I have to use Gmail because Outlook does not really work for me when I am at home and I don't have the full. But Gmass is a tool that does this magical, beautiful thing where you can send out through Gmail everything that makes it look like it's a one-to-one email. Me writing to Clara. And I can even customize like first name and everything. Like when so you don't have to use a quote unquote email marketing program. This tool for like $12 a month will connect to a Google Sheet where you have all your email addresses and then pull those email addresses in and create and send a one-to-one email to everybody on your list. It's wonderful. So this is great. Now, going back though to MailerLite, because Gmass and MailerLite, these both of course have 1.5 million tutorials. So if you're like, wait, this is all moving way too fast, there's so many tutorials out there. But here is when you go on MailerLite, your very simple interface, your campaigns, all your emails you sent out, your subscribers, your forms. You can even do a simple landing page website. I have this other big list that I've used that I need to drag in here eventually, but I'm actually going to move to Squarespace email marketing because I want to just, again, moving it to all in one place kind of thing. And it's actually a little cheaper than it is here at MailerLite. It's like $1 cheaper. It's nothing, but it doesn't take a big email list. I wanted to just show you, it doesn't take a big email list to change the game in your business. So if you're like, I have 20 people, that's it. Great. No worries. It'll grow. It'll grow quickly if you make this part of your plan. So to set up a campaign. So we're going to create a new campaign here in MailerLite, just so I can show you how easy this is. And it'll say, oh, well, which kind do you want to send? Just a regular one for the love of all things. So I'm going to say post into blog, just so I can remember what the heck I was doing here. This is not the subject line or anything like that. Then I'm going to hit save continue and it'll take me next to my series of options where I can now put my subject line in here. Who is it from? What email address am I sending it from? Do I want to track it? I just do the simple track options thing. I don't do UTM tags. Like that's complexity we don't need to worry about. We're solopreneurs here. We don't need UTM tags at the moment until you are ready. So they have cool templates that you can use, that you can easily customize. Any of these fun things. You selling things? Great, we got you. Doing a sale? Great, we got you. You can change colors, of course. Customize any of these ones that you wanted to. So we like one, or we can start from scratch, or we just build simply. There's a great, what they call a drag and drop editor. Ooh, I want text. Yes, I'm going to grab text and bring it in. So you can use this drag and drop editor from a blank one like we're going to do, or you can use it on their template. Start with one of their pretty ones. So here on the left-hand side, they have all the different types of things that you would want to use. Nothing more, nothing less. If it's not here, it's likely that you don't need to do it. If you're just starting out, this is simple for a reason. It's to get you in, get you out, get you moving. On the right-hand side, you can customize the look and the feel and the colors to match yours if you want to, but you don't have to. Just pick something pretty. Use the built-in colors palettes that are here if you'd like. So let's say I wanted to go back to ChatGPT, unless I closed it out, which is totally okay if I did, because I can reopen it because they save everything. Let's go here. So yeah, there it is. So this is too long, honestly, for a lot of my email newsletters. I wouldn't want to read that much. And the reason is this: when you go to do it in mobile, when we think about what works on email, if you slim it down to about that wide, on mobile, this looks like a dissertation. Think about your mobile user first. Your mobile user she doesn't want to be like swipe, swipe, swipe 10, 12 times just to read through your email. Like a couple paragraphs, kind of like a post. Let's move on. So when I had done this with chat, I had said, create a blog for me. And then I had said, create a newsletter, but that's still too long. So what I'm going to do is say, let's simplify this to be maybe 2 paragraphs and not complex. Make it interesting, enticing, so they click and read the blog. And yes, even misspellings. I love that it lets me run with misspellings. And this is using, I think I had said this is 3.5. So this isn't, upgraded ChatGPT. Ever wondered why ads fall flat? Yes. Okay. Awesome. I might have said, can you make this less salesy? It feels too salesy, but this will work for what we're doing. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go back here to my email marketing. And if I just click in here, and what I like to do, if, excuse me, if you're on a PC, you can do Control-Shift-V to make it come in without its formatting. When you do email marketing, ideally, you're not bringing any formatting into play here. So you could also right click and do paste as plain text. Then it makes it look like it actually did here. Some interesting kind of title there if you want to. You don't have to. And then it's saying name. So what you can do, if when you're building your email list, you have a column for first name, then it can pull that in automatically using what they call a merge tag or a variable. And it'll actually add the person's first name. I'm going to get rid of these little extra brackets here.
What do you put if you don't know someone's first name? What sort of word would you use?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey there.
And then
Just-
first name, and then it'll just leave it blank.
It can, yes. So what it would do is if you have in the back end of this, you can set it to where it'll have like a first name alternative. So if there isn't one. So in the
Right.
setting.
But
Mhm.
what would be an example of, that's a way better way of asking that question. What would be an example of a first name alternative? It's something I've struggled with a little bit.
Yeah, I don't
A
like
little thing,
hey
but-
friend. It's like I'm not, you
No.
wouldn't say hey friend probably at Starbucks line. You would just say hey there.
So put there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Or simplicity, ship it in the name of getting this thing out there. Just get rid of it. It's okay. It doesn't need to be there. So now I have my first email newsletter here. It's probably a little bit more boring than I would do. And I honestly, I know that it's not the most common thing to do. It is becoming more so, but I have a hard time reading center font. And I think a lot of brains do too. I would always make it aligned left. Even the heading, it doesn't need to be centered. So just aligning left works great. And then I don't want to read all this stuff. I'm going to add paragraph returns like everywhere because I don't want their brain to look at this thing and go, oh, this looks complex. I better read it later. I want them to read it now. I want them to be helped immediately because our brains really will talk us out of important things. So if I'll add that paragraph return there, I'll maybe bold the one main idea. So I picked this one right here. I'm going to like really, I add a paragraph return after every sentence pretty much. And then I'm going to do this. And then, whoops. Control Z, undo. It's the magic you can bring with you everywhere. So you can sign your name as if you would doing a person-to-person email. You can get rid of anything extra. Like if you have an image, cool. Do a selfie of you if you want to, but you don't have to. Just do what works for you. And make this button, if it's gonna go anywhere, like if you have a blog, let's send it to your blog, DIYinfluence.com. Boom. And then it'll give you an option sometime to do this. Open link in new tab. That's kind of nice. So if they are reading it in a browser window, then it will open it up in a new one. So then they don't forget that they were actually reading your email. It'll still be open in another browser window. And then you can change this button here to read now or something like that. Just when you go into your email next and you're looking through and someone has some cool email that enticed you to click and go anywhere, what was that call to action? Just observe your own behavior and go, okay, maybe that's a good call to action to use in my email newsletter. I don't need complex when I find something cool to read. I just want to read it and I just want to know where to click. So simplicity, clarity, read the thing. And this would go to the blog or wherever I'd hosted it. Or I would just put the whole thing there and not have a button. And then underneath it, I could go back here and say, I want to get a little bit more text and I want people to understand what it is I do. So I could choose one of these cool text layouts if I wanted to have an image or not. Or I could just say something like this. When you're ready, here's how I help. And then, just like Justin Welsh says, y'all, he's got a great formula that he's worked for 1,000 years on. So go ahead and use it. I work one-on-one with thought leaders or people who want to be thought leaders, et cetera, et cetera. And then here's a link that's maybe goes directly to your Calendly, that magical Calendly that has saved me. I think it calculated how many meetings that it scheduled for me. 683 gorgeous, wonderful meetings that I didn't have to schedule all by myself. Grab your link, shove it over there. And then you're done. This, like, especially if you are in a game of referrals, where a lot of your business comes in because people refer. If you send them an email just to your current clients, past clients, they then have something to forward to their buddy who needs your help.
And once you've done this once, you can actually just duplicate it for future newsletters. So you don't have to do it every time, which is nice.
So nice.
What do you think about sending, like, you found your sweet spot for when you send this? Is it okay to do it inconsistently for a little while you're finding that? So I want to try a Sunday morning, and then 3 weeks later I might try a Wednesday night, and 4 weeks after that I might try a Tuesday morning, and just sort of notice if there are any patterns. Is that okay to try that for a few months and then start getting consistent?
Absolutely. I would say try it a couple times in a row first.
Yeah, that makes
Just
sense.
to see, because like that first time you send it at that time of day, it's probably not going to produce much for you. But like the next time you do, you might see that uptick. I think the more successful newsletter timings are the same ones consistently, so that they know when they get a Friday night email, that's Julie. She's going to talk to me about thought leadership. I better sit down and read it. I need to take my medicine. It's like that. It's like, Clara, she's going to tell me what to do. All right, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to learn this thing. It's like, it's time to learn from Clara.
Even if it's 3-4 weeks apart, they're still like have it in their mind somehow. Okay.
Absolutely. So even if it's inconsistent in terms of week by week, it's still same time, same day. I would go for that.
I've got to go. So I just wanted to say thank you so
absolutely.
much, Julie, for all the time and energy you put into these calls. It's really incredibly valuable.
Thank
I'll
you.
see all y'all next time.
That's right, my friend.
Bye.
Great to see you. So if there are any questions before we wrap, does GMass send from any email you choose? Yes, you're going to use GMass within the inbox. This was for Clara, but you'll use GMass within whatever the inbox is. So, awesome. Any other questions? And thank you all so much for being here. But I've got 1 whole minute, one question.
Hey, Julie, I have an off-topic question if you have
No
some
worries.
time after
I do.
this.
Go for it.
So remember when we were using Linktree?
Yes, that's a perfect website to send people to.
Yeah,
Barbara,
so I'm
thank you
trying,
for thinking of that.
yeah, I was trying to figure out, so I know you had mentioned, because I set it up, but then I know you had mentioned that you can link it so that whatever company or whatever it is you have on LinkedIn, so it won't have the generic, LinkedIn
Yeah.
icon. So
Yes.
I have an icon in Linktree. I just don't know how to get that to work
Yeah.
because anyways, you could
So
enlighten.
on, do you know, are you wondering like, where do you stick it here in LinkedIn?
Well, if you go to your experience or something, go to your experience.
Yeah, you could definitely put it there.
Yeah. So how these see how all your experiences have a picture, an icon or whatever. So if you don't have something, it does a generic LinkedIn icon.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned we could use Linktree to not have that icon, I think.
Yeah. So you will need a picture to create this. But to make this go away right here, what Linktree does is it gives you a website and a place to send people. So your Linktree ideally would go here. And then I'll show you what you do for the other one because, oh nuts, I have to be on another call. Barbara, I'm going to do a Loom video and I'm going to walk you through this in a 5-minute how-to video and get this squared away for you. But I will
work.
send you.
That'll work. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Okay, friends.
Okay.
Thanks so
All
much.
right.
Bye.